tell us a little bit about the film then, for those who haven't heard of it or haven't seen it yet?
Counting Killers is a very simple story, and it's about... I was working with actors who are actually from Vietnam, but I wanted to base a film in Hong Kong. But, you know, Vietnamese people live in Hong Kong, so why not? So the film is in 3 languages: Vietnamese, Cantonese and English. And it's about 2 siblings trying to make their way through Hong Kong, and they're being pursued by a very peculiar gang. I don't want to give too much away, but I guess you'd have to see it to see why they're peculiar. Yeah, so it's basically, it almost seems like a section of a feature film. So it's more like a calling card, but it works as a short.
So is that going to lead to a feature film?
At some point, yeah. The feature film, the overall story is actually much bigger. It is epic. I can't say much about it, but it would need quite a bit of investment. So there's a few more projects we need to do to run up to that, to get to that point.
So just sticking with the film at the moment, it's the best way to describe it, I would say it's a mix of fast Hong Kong action with a bit of style and some heroic bloodshed in there as well.
Yeah.
Were all of those sort of pivotal to influencing the look and feel of the film?
Initially, I wanted to make a John Woo film. So yeah, the heroic bloodshed aspect is definitely in there, but it's also, you know, there's a bit of Yuen Woo-ping style in there, there's a little bit of Jackie Chan, there's a little bit of almost the Raid, so we kind of cherry-picked a lot of different styles and kind of mashed them all together and into this one film.
How long did it take to shoot and then complete?
So we were on a very small budget. We'd crowdsourced half the budget that we needed, and I put in the rest of the money. We had 3 days to shoot. So there was a set build in a studio, which was 1 day, and then 2 days, for 48 hours, we shot the rest of the film in a Chinese supermarket.
Now, you say you wanted to make a Vietnamese film in a Hong Kong setting, which brings on to the next question. The style of martial arts used in the film is quite unusual, isn't it? Care to tell us more about it?
In what ways?
Well, I believe it's not sort of traditional Hong Kong style kung fu, but it's Vietnamese martial arts style.
No, actually, Tien he's from Vietnam, but he does Chan and Kung Fu. So in terms of style, we wanted it to be quite urban and quite rugged. We didn't want these people to be martial artists. We want them to be, you know, street urchins, gangsters. We wanted them to be a bit rough around the edges, so they weren't pulling out monkey poses and cranes and stuff like that. They were actually, we wanted it to be a little bit more street fighting, I guess. Yeah.
It certainly is that. The knife sequences in the film were particularly tense to watch. How did you go about bringing such realism to that?
I'm so glad you said that. We had different knives for different shots. Obviously, it's quite precarious using real knives. So all the close-up stuff, there's real knives. We had stunt knives, which are like stage knives, which are blunt for shots that we could get away with. And then when they're flailing around on the wider shots, we've got like big rubber knives. So when you're doing this, you can't tell.
So, you talked about your influences earlier. You said you basically wanted to make a John Woo film. So, was he your biggest influence, or was he your only influence, or were there other filmmakers you drew upon?
I mean, I was brought up in Hong Kong action cinema. That's where I kind of learned. That's where I had a love of filmmaking from, like the age of 12. Before the internet, when you had to try and find VHS tapes and go to markets and flea markets and dodgy little shops and things like that. The influences, John Woo definitely. I wanted to do a lot of slow-mo stuff. We didn't actually do that much in the end, but I wanted it to be more poetic in the way it was shot and the cut. And you know, a bit of Wong Jing there as well. But it was quite specific. It was like that early 90s late 80s heroic bloodshed sort of era. And yeah, it's a real mishmash because I think we all have the same influences, and when you're filming as well, you kind of, or even when you're shooting the previs or coming up with all the fight choreography in pre-production, you just shorthand it and you go, yes, it's that film, it's this choreographer, that's very Donnie Yen. We do. Oh, you're nicking and picking things it's like a buffet. You kind of pick little things and make your own sort of plate, you know. So yeah, it's a real mishmash.
Okay, so looking forward then, what have you got coming up in terms of future projects?
Well, continuing the partnership with Tien and his team. Tien is actually over in China now, in one of the schools over there doing Shaolin Kung Fu. Every day he's posting a video of people pressing down and trying to break his legs, which is very. I mean, hopefully he'll come back and he can do splits. Otherwise, what was all that for? I don't know. So yeah, he's taken some time out to really hone his skills as a martial artist. And then when he's back, we had an idea in the running that we wanted to